obsessed.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna find me
because I was
somehow.
like, I'm not the sort of person who like buys things too often.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So when
like,
you buy something, it's because you really like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I was like, especially like trainers, you know, it's like because I'm really invested.
Yeah.
So I just became like really like, okay, on the internet, gotta find it in my size.
What size are you?
7.
And I say if I'm an 8, then I might need to borrow them. They're nice. So do you like them?
Thank you.
I
do like your Fenty trousers as well.
Thank you. Yeah, haven't worn them yet. They're fresh out of, not the box, but just pop the tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Comfortable as well.
Yeah.
Good space.
Yeah.
So you're back. So originally we did the interviews like a year ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna catch up. So what's been happening since then?
Yeah. Well, I think obviously we've released so many more issues with THIIRD.
Yes, you're doing amazing.
Yeah.
I love seeing all that content.
So
honestly, sick.
Yeah. So it's really been like, we're at our 4th issue now, which
Number
is
4.
called the Access issue.
With the twins on the front.
Yeah. It's got the
Love
cute little twins, and the second cover for it is Vanessa, this beautiful model, Nigerian model, and she's got like the buckets on her head.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that image.
Yeah, but those are our 2 covers. That's our.
You always have the front and the back cover, right? Or...
we usually have one back cover that's on it for the whole issue. So at the moment it's the artist Lana who's on the back cover,
cool.
And we have 2 front covers. So that's come out. We've also started THIIRD Waves, which is like a podcast radio version of THIIRD, and it allows us basically to do something, obviously something that is spoken word, which is the #1 difference, but also something a bit more like about the moment, just because THIIRD is so thematic.
Yeah.
So we've done 3 episodes of that, and that's on Soho Radio.
Oh, nice.
So we do it like a bi-monthly show on Soho Radio, so that's been really, really cool.
So it's like live on every Saturday, like how does it work?
It is every last Tuesday of the month that we air. Yeah, so that's been really exciting doing that, and in continuation from last year as well, we're also doing events. So we started off our events independently, and then we were doing it with the Photographers Gallery, and quite recently now we're doing loads of events with the Tate. So next month, actually September the 11th, we have an event at in the Tate bookshop, a panel talk.
Who's on the panel?
All really amazing THIIRD contributors and collaborators. So we have some people from this issue, like Jackie Hayden. She's a amputee, queer, working class poet, playwright, activist, and all her work is very much about getting us to see people with disabilities, like getting them roles, that sort of thing. Writing them in scripts, you know, really important stuff, and also like questioning how institutions make their things accessible to them. Just she's really awesome. We also have Roshni Gayati from The Other Box.
I've worked with her.
Yeah, she's awesome, isn't she?
She's good. Yeah.
But yeah, they're all about like basically like us pushing diversity, and like training people to do that. So she's going to be amazing on the panel. Kai Ezuma Jamal, who's a trans activist and poet and writer, and they yet again do like really awesome work with like getting people to like change their policies and like not just be like, oh, we're inclusive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, really actually doing the work that needs to be done.
So that's all like really, really exciting.
That's amazing. I think like you started off with events, so you started off knowing you wanted to have a space where community would come and kind of exchange ideas and network. And then you've been consistent with the magazine, and now you've had radio play, now you're doing panel talks. Like, can you talk me through like this process of like, are you trying to get to a point where you're everywhere, or like, tell me about it.
I think with THIIRD, like I know the team just gets really excited by like connection. I think that's our biggest thing. And so it always really starts from a place of like, we were fans of things, you know what I mean? So but when we started the sort of like talks, I noticed I was going to loads of talks. When we decided to go into radio, obviously we have Eunice, who's an amazing DJ, and she's like, played such a rich mix of music at all our events, and loads of other like sort of like musical talents for all our events as well, that we've wanted to like be able to work with as well, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. But
sounds really organic.
Yeah, exactly. But then you realise you're listening to a lot of podcasts and you're like, actually I'd love to, you know, do some of the stuff we explore with THIIRD. If we had a podcast, we could do that about more like immediate things instead of it just being like solely about a theme, which I love.
Yeah, because THIIRD comes out every, how often?
It's now an annual publication.
So once a year. So before it was how often?
It was biannual.
So twice a year, once a year. So you need to, you feel like you need to be an opportunity to stay relevant about these topics that are coming up. You don't want to wait a year, and then obviously you have to fit that topic into that issue. It might not fit, so you might not talk about it, and then it's a missed opportunity to discuss something really important, right?
Yeah, totally.
So that makes sense, yeah. That's cool. So outside of THIIRD, what's happening with you? So you're still styling, still busy?
Yeah, very, very busy though. That this year has actually been a crazy busy year.
Yeah.
But in a really lovely way. Like I've done so many amazing projects that I've been able to like put myself into and like offer my creativity in, you know what I mean?
These sound like longer term projects or bigger budget, like what's changed?
Yeah, I think for me it's always really gratifying. I think like the bigger projects you tend to work on, like there is generally just more you're able to play with. But I think it's also
more
like
time, or what makes it a bigger project?
For me, I think it's also when people understand me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very different from being asked to do a project that you know like you can do, but maybe A, B, or C or D could do. Do you know what I mean?
Well.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no
me.
connection. Yeah, exactly. But it's when you're being allowed to come on a project and like actually transform things. You know what I mean? And people are trusting you with that. That's like been super lovely for me this year. And it's been great because I think as much as like it always starts with yourself, obviously you have to learn how to trust yourself, but then it's also quite nice to see like other people giving you that support because of what you do. So that's been amazing. I mean, obviously this year I have also worked with like bigger names. So I've worked with GQ, like LYNX, and then I've worked with the Anthony Joshua's, you know, Jesse, all really lovely, amazing individuals.
How is he to work with?
Oh, super lovely, so lovely. Very humble, as I'm sure everyone knows from the way he conducts himself. But a really nice energy to be around. Good. So that's been great.
I was saying, because I had a YEMZIGIRL in earlier the other day, and she likes Anthony Joshua, who doesn't really, and I was saying, yeah, so tell me what you want me to tell Rhona to pass on the message, but I was saying she should make a song for him, like when he's walking out. That would be amazing. Yeah,
no, I'm so sure, like, yeah, that
he'd probably be open to it,
yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't anyone, you know, like if someone made you a sick song, as long as the song is sick.
Yeah, she's sick, LYNX, you have to check her out. She was YEMZIGIRL, I think 2 months ago.
Awesome.
Yeah,
like things just take time, and I think that's like literally one of the most important things to be aware of for me personally. Like since I came out of university, I realised I was a proper impatient Sagittarius, and I was like, I am not going to go far if I'm like, I want to be this thing, I want to do this thing, and I work hard, so I better get it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Some things just take time.
Some things take time, and you have to you have to give yourself the space to grow. You know, you have to give time, the space to help you as well. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think for me this year, and it seems also for you, one of the benefits is kind of 2019 has been like seeing that time maybe start to pay off, you know? Because yeah, like I think sometimes people like look at me now and they see the stuff I'm doing and they're just like, oh wow, Rhona, you've always been doing that, you know what I mean? But it started
years
it took
back.
exactly
like the overnight success is like, this is like 10 years of prep to get to this point.
And I'm always like, because now I do work like with, I was an assistant, I work with my own assistants, I have girls that come and intern with me, and that's one of the messages I always want to leave with people. It's like, okay, this is the beginning, this is like the opportunity, but because, you know, it could take a really long time, and that sometimes is good because time allows you to like
think and to know, is this what I really want to do even?
Yeah, exactly. But like it's also like a graft, you know, and like a journey, and people can like help you through that, but everyone's journey is different.
Yeah,
you know?
Because some people, they do make it overnight. Like you can find someone on Instagram and they release this like viral video, and the next minute they're charting. Like this little Nas X, like he's not been doing music long.
Yeah.
And like that. So literally everyone's journey is different. Some of us got a graft, some of us get a lucky break.
True. Yeah. But I also think there are pros and cons to both sides. Do you know what I mean? When you don't get things quick, you have to struggle for longer maybe. But sometimes when you get things quick, can you handle quick. Yeah, exactly what you've been given. It's a two-sided coin, so wherever you are, whatever stage you're at, enjoy it.
It's true, for sure. So what advice would you give to someone wanting to get to your position? Literally those things: patience, graft.
Yeah,
what else could you advise?
I think also like patience, definitely, graft, have the ability to learn. One of the things I like when I take on board people, in a weird way, I kind of always want to take on board like people who are a tiny bit like me, because I think sometimes, because it is so hard,
you want to give them opportunity. Like you, in what sense? Like
I think it's like because it is so hard to get into this thing, and I know how hard it is. I want to give an opportunity to someone who's willing to work. Do you see what I'm saying? And so who isn't going to expect it to be like an easy ride, because I'd be fooling someone if I took them on and it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I tried to like, exactly. It would just be like me taking the piss out of them in a really weird way. But I do think sometimes like younger people, not saying, I mean, I'm still a young person myself, really and truly, that sometimes because like London is really hard, people like underestimate like how hard you may actually have to
work.
You know, you might have to manage things. Like I remember myself, like I was like multitasking jobs.
When did that stop for you? Like when?
I think that was like focused. Yeah, I think that was like maybe like 2 years ago. But up until 2 years ago, like I was definitely like balancing other work that was more regular for myself, and this was just despite like that's something I'd been doing through the whole course of everything else I was doing that I was known for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah. What was it, like restaurant work or retail? Like,
it was actually tutoring for me.
Tutoring. Oh,
so tutoring, which is very different to like being in the world of fashion. I do remember sometimes like the days I'd be going in to like be with my students, I'd always try and check myself
to see what you're wearing.
And be like, oh, okay, I can't wear that top that says Gentleman's Club on it today. You know what I mean? But yeah, again, like that was all part of my process. So now I can enjoy the fact that I know that certain days my days are mostly my own and are about the work like I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been part of my process too.
So what projects are you hoping to get on to moving forward? Like what's the goal in terms of your direction over the next 5 years? Is there someone you want to work with, or an idea that you have that you've not been able to manifest yet because it's not been the right time, or
I think
what's going on?
In a really weird way, I'm at a stage where I do a lot of things that I really enjoy. Like so, obviously, through the THIIRD, I get to like edit. I get to be a part. Like I get to be a host. You know what I mean? I get to have like some sort of part in culture that I really thrive off of being able to do. I get to write, that sort of thing.
Sounds like the dream job.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
And then through my styling work, obviously, like that is how I sort of have set myself up. So it's about trying to make things bigger and better. It's about like trying to get those things that do challenge you.
Yeah.
Also trying to work with RIRI. I'm definitely willing.
Yeah, she's in London now.
Do you know what I mean? Willing the universe to make that happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. You've done Anthony Joshua, so RIRI, why not?
Just around the corner, isn't it? But still, I'm gonna work for it. So yeah, there's loads more things like I'm really, really excited to do.
So like, how would you approach that? Like, literally, you want to work with RIRI. How are you gonna make that happen?
I think
2020, tell me.
I think it's literally continuing what I'm doing right now. So
and
I think
you'll get discovered. The work will be noticed. Or
I think it's very much. I think that is the way to approach things. You know, because that's how I've got anywhere.
Yeah.
It's very much through like taking things and always doing the best
Yeah.
for every project.
Completely.
In a very, very weird way, that's something I always try to remind yet again girls who come and work with me as well. Like, reputation is so key, and that's not to say you should ever try and be a people pleaser, because I wouldn't consider myself a people pleaser, but in terms of like, no matter if I take on a project, it's because I know I can deliver. You know what I mean? I can maybe like exceed. You know what I mean?
Even when you feel like you're being challenged, you know that you
yeah, exactly. Or I know I'm gonna push myself to exceed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm just at a point where it's like, yeah, sometimes it's never really been worth me doing anything half-heartedly.
No.
I'm not a very half-hearted person.
If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it properly.
Yeah.
It's a representation of yourself. Completely.
Yeah, so I hope following that path, I eventually get myself to red carpet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Styling re, I have my look. You know, that's it.
So you have like a vision of what you dress her in, or I guess it would depend on the occasion, but
yeah, I think also one of the reasons I have to be really honest that I really love Rhona is I think her style already is so amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, that's the whole thing about the challenge, because it's like she already looks so good.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna style Rihanna, I want to do something that leaves a mark. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to leave that mark. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But
We'll know when the time comes.
yeah, exactly.
So we met through a friend, didn't we? Through Karina. So how did you meet Karina? Because I met her at college. I think it was college, yeah. I went to Brockenhurst College in New Forest, and I think she was like, oh, there's this girl called Rhona. I think you'd really like connect. So
Funnily enough, yeah, Karina and I met through work. So we were both assisting PC at that time.
PC Williams.
And I remember, yeah, like Karina was one of the assistants I worked with who I really got on with.
Yeah.
And she told me one of her friends who was running this awesome brand needed someone to get on board with the styling.
Yeah.
I remember looking for your collection and being like super impressed, but also like
that was the first collection.
Yeah, the first collection.
Yeah.
Or the silks and the sort of like the green tones. I mean, subliminally, I must have known you were Nigerian or something.
You felt the connection.
Yeah, I also remember that, like, in terms of your casting, you said you really wanted a girl who had natural hair. And even though, like, I'm not someone, like, who had natural hair, at that time, that really impressed me.
Okay.
Because I was, like, very much, like, you just don't, like, obviously, like, you just didn't really see that as embraced as much as we do now.
Yeah.
And I remember always, like, having struggles with like agents and teams, creative teams, when you'd be like, oh, I really want a black girl, I want a girl
having it.
Do you know what I mean? And
but now, have you seen a transition? That was the other question I was going to ask you, like from like when you started styling to now, in terms of diversity of models and skin tones and even body shapes, even disabilities. Like, have you seen a change over the past, say, how many years have you been styling?
5 years.
5. Yeah. Have you seen a change over the last 5 years?
Yeah, a massive change.
Yeah.
And it's been so great to see. But I mean, like, we've come so far, and it's great to see like brands are picking up. Brands understand diversity now.
Yeah.
But
do you feel like they do understand them, or they're jumping on this wave to?
I think it's a thing of they understand diversity sells.
Yeah, they definitely understand that.
So they yeah, I mean they understand the money in diversity now. Whereas before, I don't think like people cared as much, and they didn't feel there would be any gains from like showing you anything bar the standard sort of girl out there, or a typical beautiful model out there. So that has been nice to see, but I do think there are still questions around storytelling and presenting, and definitely mistakes that sometimes creative teams can make because behind the camera they're not like quite diverse. Do you know what I mean?
So you're creating this diverse space in front, but the team behind controlling it still doesn't look diverse. Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes, like, even with people wanting to touch on issues of diversity, if there's not really a connection, like, you know what I mean? If it's just, say, for example, I'm going to be very blunt about it, a white man telling a story about an Asian community, let's just say. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a chance that man might do it justice, but there's also a lot of chance that he's probably, if he's just trying to do it to tick a box,
he's gonna present something which the whole community is gonna understand isn't right. He's gonna make a mistake. He's gonna base it on he might base it on cliches, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I just think sometimes when you have more diverse creative teams, that doesn't really happen as much. You know what I mean? That there is like some sort of damage control there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a filter, right?
Yeah, but I think also that's not to place. I've also had instances when I've spoken to people and they said like we've done a project and the person who was speaking to them was like a black woman, so they were like, cool, like the project's gonna be cool. Do you know what I mean?
And that hasn't.
And then like they've got to the shoot day and no one on set has been black, and they're like, you know, things are going wrong, and it's the same typical story again.
Yeah.
But it's also like one black person can't change the whole thing, you know. Yeah. So I think basically I would say I think diversity has come a long way, but there's still so much work to be done. To be really honest with you. But it's nice to see people taking an interest now. I think when we started off with THIIRD and we were like putting diversity on our cover and like words like intersectionality, like we needed to, because these words were so clinical.
Yeah.
And there were only really words that you associated with employment forms and also like theory. You know what I mean? Cultural theory.
Yeah.
What does intersectionality look like, or what does diversity actually look like in cultural, like digestible, you know, terms? You know what I mean? Whereas I think a lot more brands are now hopping onto that, and that's great. But yeah, still there's a bit of work to be done. And there's so much beauty, like not even in the exactly. There's so much beauty in there as well. So there's so much that can be unpackaged from that space.
So what do you use on your hair?
I love using, at the moment I've been using quite a lot of rosemary oil.
Okay, rosemary oil.
Rosemary oil, is it?
I think I burned that in my oil burner.
Water, yeah, it's rosemary oil, and I just find it's like it just works with my hair, with my scalp at least, quite a lot.
So like the essential oil, just literally rubbing it in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So kind of very natural.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favourite products to use at the moment. You know, co-washing my hair, that sort of situation. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I've got some products with me.
Ooh.
Sponsored by As I Am.
Awesome.
And it's funny, I think I got a co-wash for you here.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
It's like we actually planned it, but I think it's the co-wash. Yeah, it's a dry and itchy co-wash. It's got tea tree oil in it, actually.
Amazing.
So enjoy that. And
very nice.
yeah, there's a few other bits, so enjoy.
It looks like a very, what it says, As I Am Naturally, so I imagine this is
a natural brand.
Yeah.
Check them out, they are really good.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Alright, awesome.
Alright, thank you.